Predefined selections are often used when you have a list of specific items you'd like your customer to choose between, or if you're offering them a list of upgrade options. So when we need to create a predefined selections group in JobTread, you're going to start within the job budget, go ahead and add a cost group by clicking plus group, and then here you're going to choose the group name for that selections group. So we'll do basic appliance package selection. Great. We'll create the group header, and now we're going to add our options within that group that we'd like our customer to choose between. So I can add an item here, and then I can choose to do maybe the Maytag appliances from my catalog. So there's a cost item. I can drag it up into that cost group here, or I can just add them quickly by clicking these three dots and adding the cost item. Here I'm going to do maybe my Samsung appliances, and then I also have my Fisher and Paykel appliances. All right, I may want to rearrange these so they're more in like good, better, best order. So let's pull Maytag up to the top and then Samsung as a second option, and there's our cost and our price to the customer for those items. Of course, I want to make sure that my quantity, cost, and price is all completed here, so I'm going to add one lump sum, and then everything else looks pretty good. Now, when you have a cost group like this, currently you see that the cost and price at the group level is showing you a total of all of the items within that group. That means that this is a standard cost group. Now we need to convert it to a selections group, and the way that we'll do that is we're going to click on these three dots here at the group level and click Show Details. When the detail drawer opens up for that group, then we have the option to allow selections. Let's toggle that on. And now you're going to indicate how many selections are required. How many options does your customer need to choose? And in this case, they need to choose at least one appliance package. So we're going to put 1 here. And then how many selections are allowed? Can they choose all 3 of them? Or do we want to limit them to only choosing maybe 1 of these appliances? So here we're just going to say choose 1 appliance package, and then we'll leave that as is. So we're going to close that, and then you'll notice that there's a little icon here that is indeed indicating that this is a selections group, and that means that there will be check marks or check boxes next to each of these items for your customer to choose between them on a document. Now let's add another group as well, and this one we're going to do more of an upgrades group, so we're going to click plus cost group here, and then we're going to say appliance upgrade options. Great. And then I can add items in here. So let's go ahead and add our range hood. Perfect. And then let's also add a wine fridge. There it is. And then we'll go ahead and add a beverage cooler, and then maybe a trash compactor too. Great. So all of these items are in this cost group, but again, remember this cost group is just a standard cost group because it's totaling all the items within it. Therefore, we need to convert it to a selections group. So I'm going to click these 3 dots, click on Show Details, and now I can allow selections. Now in this case, we're just offering these as options for our customer to upgrade themselves, and so we're not going to require any options for them to select, and also they can select as many as we want, and so in this case, have at it. Select all 4 if you'd like. So I'm going to leave that as 0 at the minimum and the maximum as all. And then we'll go ahead and close this. Now we do have 2 different selections groups. This one is basically forcing them to choose an item, and this one is giving them upgrade options that they can choose between. All right. So then when we add this to a document, we'll go ahead and create a proposal out of these. So I'll click plus document here, and then I'll choose my proposal. And as you can see, we're going to carry both of these groups over onto our proposal. So we'll click create. And now you'll notice that you have the selection group. These are where we're requiring our customers to choose one option. And then we have the upgrades group where they can select as many as they would like. Now, as the customer selects these, you'll see that the range here does turn into a hard number. And then here it says $0, but as they add you'll notice that that amount increases. Now there is one other setting that you can consider for this. If you'd like to show the difference in the cost as opposed to the hard cost for each of these items, then you can actually choose to edit that in the group settings. So we'll open up this cost group again. Now you can do this at the budget level or on this specific document. Open up the cost group details right here. And then you have this option to show selection amount differences. If I toggle that on, now you'll notice that the option that is pre-selected does not show a price. However, it does show the difference, so the added amount for the upgrades. And this way you can kind of display the delta to your customers as opposed to just the hard prices for each item. Now if we switch between these, you'll notice that that delta does show on all of the items that are not selected. Some contractors tend to use this if they have a base item that's automatically included in the budget and then they want to offer some upgrade options to their client, but you do have that option. Now once you send this to the client, they then can go in and have the interactive experience of selecting their options, and then anything that they select will appear in the budget and the budgeted cost will show up on the budgeted cost column for the item that they selected. And you can choose whether or not you want to leave the other items in your budget. Maybe they'll change their mind later on, so you might want to leave those. Otherwise, you can go ahead and delete the items that were not selected. You can leverage write-in cost items to give your customer an open-ended selection item where they can add the description to that item, they can choose a quantity, and they can also upload files and photos and videos to that particular cost item. This is particularly helpful if you are to have customers sourcing their own items or working with a designer to source their items. They can give you the information for that item, and then you can go ahead, check with your suppliers, and then give them a price back for their signature. So let's see how this works in JobTread. You'll start within the job budget, and we're going to add a cost item first. So we'll click plus item here, and then we can start entering in the cost item details. So kitchen island light fixture selection. Great. Okay, so that's a new cost item in our budget. It's currently just a standard cost item, and we can go ahead and convert it to a write-in cost item. So we'll click on these three dots here. We'll choose show details. And then down here in the cost item details, you can choose allows customer write-in. So if I toggle this on, then I have the choice of, does the cost depend on the customer's input, or do we already know the cost for that item? In this case, the cost is going to depend on the customer's input. We don't quite know what the customer is going to choose yet. So by leaving that on, the cost, price, those are all going to be determined. If I turn this off, then I can set the cost here. In this case, we're going to leave it on. Great, and then we'll click close, and now you'll notice there's a little icon here that does indicate that this is indeed a customer write-in option. All right, so then what we can do is add a description for this cost item, and the description is going to be the place that the customer can actually contribute to. So here, I might want to add a description that I've already kind of typed up here, so we're going to paste it in. And so I'm telling the customer, please source your own light fixture that's less than 3 feet wide. Once you've found it, enter the details below. So then the customer can go in and enter in the fixture name, the color, and the link or URL to that fixture. And then, of course, you want to make sure that you complete the estimating steps here as well. So we're just going to put a quantity of 1 and unit each for this item. And then, like we said, the cost and price is to be determined at this point. Oh, and cost type, let's make sure that's materials. And then let's go ahead and give it its code. Great. All right, so now we have our first write-in item. We'll save our changes here. Now you can save these write-in items in your cost catalog so you can use them for every job that you have. So we'll go ahead and pull one from our cost catalog, in this case plus item, and we'll put cabinet hardware selection here. So if I choose this from my cost catalog, you'll notice that it's already a write-in item, so the settings are already there, and I'm going to just do one lump sum for that item, and then of course to be determined. We don't know the price quite yet. So if we did pop into the details for this item, you will notice that we have chosen allows the customer write-in and the cost depends on customer input. You might choose to add something like can lights to this as a write-in item where you already know the cost of each of those can lights. You just need your customer to indicate the quantity for them. In that case, you can toggle this part off and then just put maybe each can light costs $40, and then the customer can go ahead and enter in the quantity that they want for that. But for this item, we're just going to say cost depends on customer input. Close, we're going to save our changes here, and now we'll go ahead and add these to a proposal or a selection document that we're going to send out to the customer. So we'll click plus document, and then let's go ahead and choose our proposal here. Yes, we would like both items on that, so we'll hit create. And now you'll notice that we have these two write-in selection items for my customer to inform. And in this case, I will go ahead and just send it off to the customer because I want them to let me know what items they'd like. So we'll hit send, choose our customer there, and send it off. Now the document is in pending state, meaning the customer can see it and go in there and add their information. So as the customer, what they're going to want to do is to pop in here and start filling out this information. So the fixture name, maybe it's a pendant of some sort, pendant light, and then we'll go in and choose the color bronze, and then we can add the URL, .something.com, great. And then for the hardware selection, we'll do the same, and we're gonna just say horizontal poles, and then we'll choose bronze for those two, might as well make them match. And then of course the web address. So again, here your customer can upload files and photos to this particular document and to each item if they'd like to. And then down at the bottom, the customer has the ability to add their own notes down here and hit submit. This is going to send the document back to you. And now you have the ability to inform the price of those items. Notice that this is still in pending state, meaning that the customer has not signed it or approved it yet because they can't really approve or sign something that doesn't have a price on it. So now you can go in as the contractor, check what they had submitted to you, talk to your suppliers, get the pricing from them, and then you can add the pricing here. So just go ahead and click on the TBD area. Now I'm going to put in the cost for that item. So what am I incurring as the contractor? How much am I going to pay? So let's say for the kitchen island light fixture, I'm going to pay $9.50. I want to make sure I have that 30% margin on there, and then my price to the customer for that item is $13.57. We'll save that. And then we'll go in and add the cabinet hardware selection price as well. So here I'm going to click TBD and I'm going to add the cost that I've found for that. So the cabinet hardware, let's say that I'm going to pay my supplier $325 for lump sum of the cabinet hardware. Make sure your 30% margin is on there, and then the price to the customer is $464. That's what's showing up on the document. So we'll hit save and then close that. So now we have the two specific totals in there, so there's no longer TBD on this document. So you can go ahead and send it off to the customer again. And the way that you'll do that is you'll click this little resend button. So it'll resend this document to the client, and now you can edit this message. So please review the final pricing for your selection items. Maybe please review and approve. There we go, we'll hit send. And now the document was sent back to the client. Now one thing you'll notice now on this document, if you scroll down, there is a signature area because the document no longer has any TBDs on it. Instead, it has full pricing, so the customer can actually come in here and approve this document. And now you'll notice that it is approved. If we go back to our budget, you will see that we have the total budgeted cost for those two items in an approved state. If you have any questions, please contact your customer success manager and they will be happy to help.